I'm now joined by Pines reporter journalist Hadassah Alankar and Fern Marmont, and myself, of course, Sterling Millette here, and we're doing the Pines Reporter recap. So welcome to the show, Hadassah and Fern. How are you today?
Doing good. Excited to be here.
Awesome. I don't even think I should be saying host. I feel like we're all co-hosts in this. Like I'm just it's not like my show. I say welcome to the show, but it's kind of all of our show. We're kind of coming together now here for this every week. So anyway, let's check out what's going on in the Pines Reporter. So let's start off right away with our first article. Election case expected to start soon. We're going to you, Hadassah, on this one. Federal court case over when Gunnesadaga's next election will take place is set to book a date. This case will decide when Gunnesadaga's next election will take place. And you got to talk with caretaker counsel Brant Etienne, and he mentioned that settlements were offered to respondents in the case. Can you tell me a little bit about what the settlement entails?
So in a court case, the definition of a settlement is an agreement between all the parties to resolve a dispute without finishing a trial. And this could involve money. So that's one party agreeing to pay another party to resolve the dispute, and then they end the trial or hearing. A settlement agreement can also frequently allow defendants to resolve the case without admitting any guilt. But another more important feature of settlements is that they are mostly confidential. So for example, the discussion among different parties of a court case about the settlements are entirely confidential. A source can agree to offer their own perspective publicly, but they cannot speak to what others said. So what Brant told me for the article was that one of the aspects of the settlement was that the Mohawk Council of Gunnesadage offered to give the community a chance to vote on whether the community wanted to proceed with an election immediately. Now, the other details on the settlements that were offered weren't shared, but they were sent to the other parties in the case.
And you also got to talk with former Grand Chief Victor Bonspill. What was his response to the settlement?
Well, Victor had a curious response. He said he had never received a settlement offer or been told about one. I don't yet know why that is. As a journalist, I was able to report there was, for a fact, some settlement offers because it was confirmed to me by multiple other sources. This includes Brant and also another party of the case, Amanda Simon, and Amanda's lawyer. So settlements were definitely offered, but in any case, Victor did tell me that if he had seen a settlement offer from the Mohawk Council of Gunnesadage, he would have turned it down.
And on March 20th, the federal court sent a memorandum to all parties in the case in order to book a hearing with lawyers and MCK involved. What is the situation looking like?
Well, everyone seems hopeful the hearing for the case will be booked soon. And when speaking in terms of a court case, soon is within the next few months. As of this morning, the federal court file for the case shows the Caretaker Council has already submitted their availability for the next 90 days. Other parties' submissions are expected to follow suit. And the Pines Reporter will continue to keep a very close watch on this story.
All right, we're always kicking it off politically here with Hadassah every week, and now we're gonna turn over to Fern here. We got first seeds of the season. So you got to spend a morning at Dzunquadajahaje Farm talking with Valerie Gabriel and Maddie Oraguaze Daibo. What do they got going on in the garden?
Well, actually, currently the shelves and the greenhouses are a bit bare, but that's only because they just started prep for the new season. They just started to begin planting the first seeds, so they planted onion, celery, and eggplant. And then in the next few weeks, they will be gearing up and planting more, preparing the greenhouse, and filling those empty shelves with sprouting plants.
And our very own RKR correspondent, Karen Wasundiosta Murray, shared a few words with you as well. What's going on with Karen at the Gardens of Hope?
Well, as always, Karen has a lot going on. She is also just starting the prep for the new planting season, but is already planning some pretty epic things for the garden. In the fall, she hopes to do a canning program, canning the food she's grown in the garden and showing people how to prep the food for winter. She also told me that she wants to grow corn and get it milled so that the community has access to flour.
And what's the importance they all expressed about growing your own food?
So while Valerie and Karen work more informally together and don't do any specific programming together, they both express not only the importance of growing your own food, but the importance of having access to not only seeds but local seeds and plants. They both emphasize the importance of community engaging with the gardens to ensure that both gardens continue into the far future, and that people need to kind of embrace that there's hard work that comes with farming and they need to get their hands dirty.
Thank you, Fern. That is true. You do have to get your hands dirty, and it is a hard job indeed. So we're going to turn back to you, Hadassah. New food bank slated for this year, and we have a new food bank opening up this summer at Zunkwatachahaje Farm. You talked to a community health representative from the Ganasadage Health Center, Michelle Balal. What were some of the problems with the old food bank location?
Well, the food bank is still open weekly on Thursdays, and some of the issues they're having is the space is pretty small. The food bank is located right now in the basement of the community building, and people who come to the food bank have to sit or stand in the hallway of the building to wait their turn to shop. The food bank workers and the volunteers are setting up the tables and a few shelves in 2 different rooms for the people who have come to the food bank. And on these tables and shelves, they put produce and food items. This also includes the fridge and freezer items. And Michelle said it's tight to fit everyone comfortably at the moment. So they are looking forward to a bigger new space that's currently under renovation.
And how are they ensuring that everyone who goes has fair access to this food bank?
Well, this is interesting. Michelle said that not everyone can get to the food bank on time. And the ones that do get there on time are usually the same people. And this creates an unfair situation because some products on the food bank are limited. So if it was first come, first serve, it would be pretty difficult for some members to have the chance to get the items that are limited. For example, Michelle said they usually don't receive a large number of sticks of butter. So to make it more fair, the workers will write down the names of everyone who comes to the food bank. They'll put it in a bucket, then pick the names one by one to determine what order people will shop. And Michelle said whoever was last to shop last week will be the first one next week. This has made it more fair because they can keep an eye and make sure everyone eventually has a chance to go first.
And what can people expect from the new food bank?
Well, they can definitely expect it to be bigger. Michelle said it would also be more comfortable for people who go to the food bank because they'll have a designated seating area for everyone. That'll be a big upgrade from the hallway. And Michelle also said it'll really look like more of a grocery store. For example, they'll have glass door fridge and freezers like the ones we see at a regular grocery store. This will be a big step up from putting everything on a table and the few shelves that they have. And speaking of shelves, Michelle says they'll be getting more of them, so the food items will be more organized. And lastly, the food bank will be in just one big room. They won't have to use 2 separate rooms. Michelle seems very excited, and hopefully by this summer, sometime this summer, the new food bank will be ready for the community.
Well, we hope so, because rising food prices are kind of killing everybody out there. Also, if you're just tuning in right now, you're tuning into RKR 101.7 FM, and we're actually doing the Pines Reporter recap. I'm joined by Pines Reporter journalists Hadassah Alankar and Fern Marmont, and of course me, Sterling Millette, here on 101.7 FM. And let's continue here with Fern. So, recording the past for the future was the headline here. You talked with Language Development Officer Kevin Nelson. What's the purpose of the project? Hopefully I said that right.
So the recording project seems to have multiple purposes. The first one is to interview and record first language speakers before they pass, as they hold not only the knowledge of the language, but also the history of the community. And then the other aspect of the project is recording first language speakers so that anyone wanting to learn the language can listen to those recordings and have that as a learning resource. Nelson even mentioned that it's not just specifically for learners, but for second language speakers who might just want to hear how first language speakers sound, or just anyone in general who is interested in hearing the language spoken.
And director of the Cultural Center, Hilda Nicholas shared her thoughts. What did she have to say?
Hilda said that this project was a great initiative as people need to hear elders as they are the ones who carry the history of the community. She also mentioned that it was a great tool for second language speakers or anyone who wants to learn the history of Ganisadage.
And Nelson is also working with McGill. What did he tell you about that?
Yes, so he is working with a McGill linguistics professor, Jessica Kuhn, and her team, but just on a very small scale to learn how to use this transcribing tool called Elaine, which creates time-aligned, multi-layered annotations on audio and video. Nelson mentioned that he hopes that this tool will help language learners as they can see and interact with English and Ganageha transcription on audio and video.
You did good on that one. No, you got it. You got
Thank
it.
you.
You got it.
Almost tripped me up. Thank you.
So we're going to turn finally back to you, Hadassah. St. Patty's Daycare Fundraiser finds gold. The Runstwa Dakwa Early Childhood Center held a St. Patrick's Day pancake fundraiser. What can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, so this was their first meal fundraiser, and it was during the weekend before St. Patty's. The daycare workers and volunteers sold plates with pancakes, ham, and fruits. Fun fact, the pancakes were actually cooked by a grandmother of one of the children who attends the daycare. And these platters were sold in person or they were delivered for $10 for an adult and $6 for a child. And congratulations again to the daycare and to the community because they raised about $800 from these platters. Winona Cross, an educator at the daycare, said fundraisers happen regularly. The daycare needs to cover expenses like for trips, events. For example, last week they went to a sugar shack, and they're also looking for funds to upgrade equipment and their curriculum.
We spoke about multiple fundraisers. We have another fundraiser that's being planned for Easter. What's that fundraiser going to look like?
Well, they have a raffle going on right now. So for the raffle, players can get a variety of new kids' toys, such as race car, and there's baby toys. These toys came from the Mohawk Council of Ganisadage. The council had leftover toys from their annual Christmas giveaway, and they decided to donate them to the daycare. But the feature prize is this giant 9-pound Easter chocolate bunny. I saw it in person. It is massive. I think it's taller than some of the kids at the daycare. And for more information on the tickets, listeners can contact the daycare or read the full story in the paper.
And Kahundukta Bova teaches Ganyageha. What would she like to see done with the money that's raised?
Well, something really exciting at the daycare right now is they are improving their education and language program for the kids. And Kahundukta is excited because the money raised from the fundraisers helped the daycare to invest in the language program. For example, they're planning regular socials for kids, and from the fundraising, they were actually able to buy moccasins for all of the kids to wear during the socials. And right now they're hoping to also get traditional clothes for all the kids as well. And something I didn't include in this article is that the kids are actually learning and participating in the songs and the socials now. Because they're regular, they're actually able to learn. And these language and traditional events are obviously helpful to making sure the kids learn the language and the culture. And Kahundukta hopes to continue expanding their language curriculum for the daycare through this fundraising.
Might I say you've done well too there, Kahundukta. You got her name pretty good. So
Thanks.
You girls made me proud today. So that's about it. But I want to just say honorable mention, what every caretaker counselor is up to was another headline that you wrote. We were going to cover it today, but I didn't think we had enough time to really go over that one. But it is in the name, right? If you want to know what the Caretaker Council is up to, you have to buy this week's edition of the Pines Reporter, which is in the Eastern Door. So if you want to know what they're doing over there at the band office, Hadassah has you covered, but you got to go buy a copy of the Eastern Door Pines Reporter. It's all in there. So before we wrap this up, is there anything that you would like to add, either Hadassah or Fern?
Yes, there's some breaking news. Next week, it's somebody's birthday. And so we definitely have to cover that. I think, Sterling, you can tell us more about that.
I guess I could. I don't know who you're referring to, but
It's definitely you.
I'd imagine it's somebody who's on the radio. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is my birthday actually next Wednesday, but I'm not going to be here on my birthday. I am taking the day off. I built up some overtime, so I will not be here on Wednesday. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a cruel April Fool's joke. You want me here. I will be gone. I will have no news and updates for you next Wednesday, but that's okay. That's okay. I will be back the week later, but I'll still be here on Monday and Tuesday. So, yeah. Thank you for mentioning my birthday. Now I feel like I'm going to get some birthday wishes sent my way. Some good birthday wishes. But Monday and Tuesday, I am here. Wednesday, Thursday, gone. So do not contact me on Wednesday. Also, I'd just like to say, get this week's copy of The Eastern Door at Bayside Convenience, Mohawk Gas Bar, and Little Tree, or you can subscribe online at theeasterndoor.com. And that was a conversation with the Pines Reporter journalist Hadassah Alencar, Fern Marmont, and of course me, Sterling Millette. They're from The Eastern Door, part of our collaboration with Reviving Gunnesadage Radio to grow Indigenous media and community reporting here in Gunnesadage. For more local stories and updates, stay tuned to hear on RKR 101.7 FM, or go ahead and grab a copy of The Eastern Door with the Pines Reporter in it, because they got all the stuff that you need to know going on in your community. So till next week. Actually, no, we're not here next week. That's true. It's Good Friday, so we're not doing this next week. So in 2 weeks, so you'll have to wait another 2 weeks. So hopefully you tuned in today. So that's why I don't mind for dragging this one on, because this is all you're getting. Till next Friday. Not next Friday, but next Friday. Anywho, I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you once again, ladies. You guys are awesome. So,
thank you so much. You're great, Sterling.
Till next time.
Happy birthday, Sterling.
Anagiwahi, everybody.